This week, many Canadians attend vigils in memorial of the Quebec shooting.
Is that, just as any other country, we have our own sort of difficulties in figuring out how to make that work.
And an 8-year-old boy grows out his luscious locks in support of cancer research.
And said, I want to cut my hair in 2 years from today.
Plus, American commercials are finally playing in Canada during the Super Bowl.
As Canadians, we even have to go online after and people will look up like YouTube compilations of best ads, American ads.
Good evening and welcome to Spoke TV. I'm Justin Emmanuel.
And I'm Justine Fraser.
Here's a look at what's been happening in the region this week. After tragedy struck Quebec last week, communities around Ontario have come together in support of those lost. Spoke TV's Alan Broadhagen has more on how local cities are reacting.
On January 30th, people from across Waterloo region came together to attend a vigil in support of those lost during a shooting at a Quebec City mosque. Other local communities, including Guelph and Stratford, also held their own vigils. Louisette Lontang says she's appalled by the attack that took 6 lives.
It was frightening to me that we're going along this path of discrimination and violence against an ethnic group.
Chris Anderson, a professor that specializes in the study of multiculturalism and immigration and refugee policies, says he didn't expect something like this to happen because of how Canada is usually viewed.
A lot of really important messaging that we give ourselves about that multiculturalism and how we're diverse in the country of immigration. And this sort of underlines maybe what sort of I think is often known but not talked about is that, just as any other country, we have our own sort of difficulties in figuring out how to make that work.
Anderson says he isn't surprised by the support of the community, mostly because of how diverse Kitchener has been over the past few years.
We have one of the higher rates of immigration certainly coming into a community in Kitchener, more than Waterloo. And of course, our immigration has changed in recent years, and so we're, certainly from the 1960s onward, we're changing to a more diversified sort of spectrum of society.
Lontang knows that the community and Canada can get through this tragedy and support all members of the region, no matter their ethnicity.
We are here because we believe that our community is better than this, that we can come together and we can build a healthy society through love.
For Spoke TV, I'm Alan Broadhagen.
Thanks, Alan. With Canada's plan to resettle thousands of refugees, Waterloo Region and Conestoga alike have opened their doors to immigrants, refugees, and international students. This year, Conestoga College has more than 2,000 international students from 90 countries. Spoke TV's Christina Bruce takes a look at how refugees are adjusting to living in Waterloo Region.
Reception House Waterloo Region, once located in a house across from Victoria Park, has made a move to a new location. Why? Because they needed more space. Just last year, Reception House helped a record of 1,000 refugees in Waterloo Region. Marika Galadza, Education and Communications Specialist at Reception House, says that building relationships within the community is one of the goals she carries with her in her job.
I think building strong communities is one of the goals that our organization kind of holds is, we're working with newcomers to our community. How do we help them thrive here?
Galadza also says that getting involved in helping people adjust to their new life is why she wanted to be a part of the team.
I wanted to be a part of a social service organization that helps newcomers really feel that they belong and really adjust to their new community to make it a little easier for them.
At Conestoga College, there are close to 2,000 international students. Tushar Sethi, an international student himself, says that he wants to take the skills he learns at the college back home with him to India.
Confidence level that journalists have in Canada, I want to take that back to India, and that will help my country, like the media pillars, to grow a lot in India.
For 2017, Reception House hopes to help around 800 refugees resettle in the region. For Spoke TV, I'm Christina Bruce.
Thanks, Christina. The norovirus has been making its rounds across the province. 10 potential cases have been reported at Conestoga's Cambridge campus, and there have been numerous outbreaks across the Waterloo region since October. Spoke TV's Brittany Bordelon investigates.
Multiple reports of illness around the Waterloo region have many wondering if the illnesses reported at the Conestoga College Cambridge campus are norovirus related. The college issued a notice this past week in regards to the reported illnesses and are reminding students to keep themselves healthy. Brenda Miller, manager of health protection and investigation at the Region of Waterloo Public Health, says norovirus symptoms can often be confused with the flu.
Because symptoms are so very similar, it does make it difficult. And many people just think, well, it's a simple stomach flu, I'll be over it in a day or two.
Miller says since October, there has been 31 known cases of the norovirus in the region. With the norovirus potentially being so close to the college, some students are worried about catching the virus, while others are taking extra precautions to stay healthy.
Other people will get it, and then my kids will get it at home, and everyone will get sick, and it'll be a big mess.
I take a lot of vitamins and stuff like that. Generally, my immune system is really strong, but vitamins are definitely a help every morning, and just making sure you're sleeping and keeping yourself healthy, just in general.
Symptoms can last up to 60 hours. There have been up to 10 cases reported at the Conestoga College Cambridge campus between faculty and students, but there hasn't been any confirmation on whether it was in fact the norovirus. I'm Brittany Bordelon for Spoke TV.
Thanks, Brittany. After the break, find out why a young boy has been growing his hair for more than a year and a half. A young 8-year-old boy has been growing his hair for cancer. Spoke TV's Stephanie Gick takes a closer look at what he wants to accomplish.
Carter Norman is almost 8 years old, and he has one wish this year.
I'm gonna paint the town gold.
Since he was 6, Carter has been growing his hair so he can donate it to make a wig for cancer patients. His big haircut is coming soon.
Well, it first started that his dad started growing his hair, so then he just kind of jumped on the bandwagon. And then he woke up September 14th of 2015 and said, I want to cut my hair in 2 years from today. And we marked it on the calendar and started.
Carter also hopes to raise $10,000 for cancer and is at $300 so far.
Carter's Cut aims to help those in the community living with cancer, and some local residents think a little act makes a big difference.
Mandy Conlon lost her mother to cancer, and she has a friend with a daughter in treatment. She believes wig donation is important for self-esteem.
Because even though she's trying to be strong and not be affected, she's a little girl going through this, you're still looked at as different, and it does affect her esteem to not have the beautiful hair that she once did.
As for Carter's Cut, a fundraiser is being planned.
We're going to do a big barbecue this summer we're hoping in Soper Park. We're not 100% sure in what the location, and we're going to do games and prizes and just kind of get the word out, get people to come out, have fun, have a barbecue, just have a good time.
Carter's Cut is happening in September. For Spoke TV, I'm Stephanie Gick.
Thanks, Stephanie. There's a lot to know with the upgraded Cambridge Memorial Hospital opening before summer 2017. For most local residents, the addition to the Cambridge Memorial Hospital has faded into the background as just another part of the skyline. The addition opens not a moment too soon this spring, as a new study has shown that most expectant mothers are likely to leave Cambridge to give birth. To help things along, a local fundraiser has so far raised $40 million for the project, which will include an emergency department, mental health programs, operating and inpatient rooms, intensive care and birthing units that will hopefully change things for the better.
An accident in Cambridge left traffic stopped and a person injured on Thursday on January 26, around 2 in the afternoon. Waterloo Regional Police responded to a 2-vehicle accident at the intersection of Franklin Boulevard and Canamara Parkway. One vehicle was severely damaged. Police confirmed that one person was taken to hospital with minor injuries and are expected to recover. They were released later that evening. According to police, one driver was charged with careless driving and running a red light. Multiple lanes in the area were closed and traffic came to a stop. The investigation and cleanup took hours and the intersection fully opened later that evening. Conestoga students are about to have more room to roam. Conestoga College's Waterloo campus is getting a $43.5 million makeover. Conestoga took over the former University Heights Secondary School building in 2006, putting culinary and skilled trades programs into the half-century-old structure. The modernization of the Waterloo campus, set to be finished in less than 2 years, would give a boost to the college's University Avenue image in the university town of Waterloo. The larger campus will have improved culinary and hospitality facilities, with the kitchens facing right into the street. The space on the site will be doubled by a 150,000 square foot expansion that will wrap around the building. The federal government is contributing $14 million for the project, The province is putting in $1.8 million, and Conestoga will have to pay the remaining $27.7 million. Since Waterloo has a booming high-tech industry, Conestoga is aiming to put all of its information technology programming into the expansion. The Waterloo campus will remain open during construction.
Next up, we take a look at how an expansion for the 401 could take up to 5 years. The several scattered arenas and sports centers in Cambridge are coming to their expiration date, so the community decided to do something about it. Unfortunately, this is much easier said than done. It's been called the one thing that brought all the parts of Cambridge together. The project to build a combined sports facility known as the Multiplex has been a subject of intense debate that lasted almost a year longer than expected, specifically about its location. The Multiplex needed to be accessible from both Cambridge and outside through Highway 401, needs to provide economic benefit to Cambridge, and the travel costs need to be kept at a minimum. In March of 2016, the city was ready to sign a lease from Conestoga College to use land on the Cambridge campus, a location that a councillor and former task force member for the project believes is ideal and needs to happen sooner rather than later.
Our cores were dying, and we're not only ours, but all the cores. Kitchener has done big boost, Waterloo has done it. We don't want to fall behind. We want to grow with them.
Before the location was approved, there was intense opposition from the community that forced the council back to the drawing board. The original task force was dissolved and a new one was built to receive more public input and reevaluate the sites. According to the feedback criteria, spending more time wasn't a problem.
Timing was last. Most people said, this is such a big project and so important to Cambridge. It doesn't matter if it happens in 2019 or 2020. We're going to have it for 60 or 70 years or longer. A year doing the planning right is not a big deal.
In December of 2016, a short list of the potential locations were released, which still included the Conestoga location in the top 5, and not all were happy about this, hoping that the site would have been removed from the list altogether.
The city would only be leasing the land from the college, and if you're going to put $78 or $80 million into it, many people wanted a lot more security than just having a lease that at the end of the time period the facility could be lost.
Where else would the location go? There are a couple potential sites on Pine Bush Road and a few near or on Franklin Boulevard, as well as one that was a bit more popular that would replace a local flea market in the center of the city, which would hopefully keep revenue focused in Cambridge.
Here would be an opportunity to have an architecturally important building that could serve as a focus for redevelopment of that part of the city.
A challenge of using a different site is the cost of cleaning the land before it is ready to be built on, something that isn't a problem for the Conestoga location.
Like the thing is, council has a responsibility, fiscally responsible to the taxpayer. People say they don't care the cost. No, we don't care the cost now, but when you get a tax bill at the end of the month, you will care.
One thing that can be agreed upon is that the community largely wants the project, and that most of the tension dissolved as the increased public input helped smooth the transition.
Even in that meeting, people said, this isn't where I would have been at the start of the process, and that might not be the order that I would have ranked these sites in, but because I can agree with how we developed the criteria, I can agree with the conclusions.
The final report has been submitted and the City Council will vote on the location in March, which is only the beginning. After that, how and when the site is built will be a whole conversation on its own, one that Councillor Monteiro says may be left to the next council.
On January 27th, Cambridge City officials announced the next phase of our region's part in the 401 expansion. Spoke TV's Maddie DeMart found out what we should expect from this major project.
The 401 through Cambridge has seen a number of changes recently. The Government of Canada has contributed $96 million to expand the 401 at Hespeler Road to Townline Road from 6 lanes to 10. This will include high occupancy vehicle lanes. Member of Parliament for Cambridge, Brian May, says that this is a huge announcement for our region.
Very proud of this and absolutely needed. If you drive that stretch of highway, you know how congested it can be, and we're really looking forward to being able to improve the flow of traffic, not just for convenience, but for safety.
The expansion will not only be about adding extra lanes, the project will also include replacing 2 bridges.
So it's a big project. We're also looking at 2 rebuilds on both of those bridges at Hespeler Road and Franklin.
This project is a continuation of the expansion of Highway 401 to 10 lanes from King Street to Hespeler Road, which is currently under construction and is targeted for completion in the summer of 2019. Federal funding for this massive rebuild is part of an $180 billion commitment to infrastructure nationwide over 12 years. Sabrina Fraser drives to Mississauga on the 401 5 days a week. Expanding to 10 lanes would make her drive to work a little smoother.
Well, I mean, the congestion is pretty much all day long at this point. Rush hour is like 6 hours long. It's kind of ridiculous. So, it definitely needs to increase in volume. It's like one of the busiest highways in North America, which is ridiculous because it's not one of the biggest cities in North America.
Construction is expected to begin in the fall of 2018 and should wrap up between 2021 and 2022. For Spoke TV, I'm Maddie DeMart.
Thanks, Maddie. In 2012, there were 950,000 self-employed women in Canada, making up 36% of all entrepreneurs. Spoke TV's Cassandra McNeil caught up with one woman business owner at the comic book industry.
In the male-dominated industry of comic books, Jennifer Haynes, owner of the Dragon in Guelph, is just one of many helping to change the odds for female entrepreneurs.
So I thought, I really would like to see Guelph have the kind of comic store that it deserves, and to have a place that's welcoming and bright and open where people can feel comfortable to bring their kids or just come and hang out and shop. And so I decided that I would make that store. So that's pretty much how it started, was just with the idea of, Guelph deserves something better, and then wanting to make that happen, wanting to see the kind of comic store that I would want to shop in.
According to a study by the National Women's Business Council, female entrepreneurs receive 50% less capital than their male counterparts to open up their own business.
There's a lot of crazy things you do as an entrepreneur. You don't have a lot of money to spend to pay professionals to do certain things, so you end up doing a lot of it yourself. And so with this space as well, we actually, we're in here every night till all hours, laying the floor and painting the walls and doing all of those renovations ourselves. It's, being a small business owner, you do what it takes, and you take those risks, and you do that extra, all the extras to make it work, because it's all on your shoulders, and you want to try to save the money where you can.
Proof that the odds are changing for geeky female entrepreneurs is seen in an online collective of female comic book store owners, known as the Valkyries, that has grown to almost 500 members since launching in 2013.
The way that women and men work in different ways, it does impact how they work as business owners as well. So men as business owners, they are very focused on hierarchy, and there's a level of competitiveness to it. So when a man opens a business, his goal is to compete and to remove his competitors. And this is obviously a generalization. This is obviously not speaking to every single person who's ever opened a business. We go in with a more, let's build something together, let's build a community, let's collaborate, let's discuss, let's do things like that. In certain ways, that can be a bit of a detriment in business. And I think that a lot of the problems that women who own businesses encounter is that they're not taken seriously by men who own businesses. In a really male-heavy business like this one, it's especially obvious. So, I do think that as a female business owner, sometimes customers feel like they can, push me into giving them what they want. Like, for example, if they want to make a return on an item and it's really not something that I can take back for whatever reason, they will often go straight to trying to force me to take it as a return. Whereas I'm not sure that would happen if I was a man. And it's a horrible thing to say, because it's it shouldn't be that way. And I hope I'm wrong in that assumption, but there are realities about gender roles and perceptions of gender that exist, and the stereotypes exist for a reason, unfortunately.
As a community-heavy shop with events like tabletop gaming, the Dragon has successfully faced any trials in their way, and things are looking up locally, as a new study by the Dell Woman Entrepreneur Cities Index named Toronto the most female entrepreneur-focused culture in the world. For Spoke TV, I'm Cassandra McNeil.
Thanks, Cassandra. After the break, we'll give you a full Super Bowl roundup from the game to the ads.
Now with a look at this week's sports highlights. Spoke TV reporter Tyler LaCours and Justine Fraser give us all the Super Bowl details in this week's Sports Corner.
I'm here with Tyler LaCours to talk about Sunday's big game.
Thanks, Justine. As everyone knows, this year's game was one of the most talked about and anticipated in recent years. But at the end of the day, Team Fluff was victorious over Team Rough, 93-38.
I love that part.
That's right, and then Tom Brady and the New England Patriots faced off with league MVP Matt Ryan and the Atlanta Falcons in Super Bowl 51.
What was the score heading into the second quarter?
It was 0-0, and then 3 minutes into the second quarter, Devontae Freeman and the Falcons kicked off the scoring to take a 7-0 lead. An Austin Hooper touchdown and then Robert Alford pick six made it 21-0 for Atlanta. A New England field goal then made it 21-3 at halftime.
The halftime performer was Lady Gaga, and everyone loves her. She put on a pretty decent show. I heard she even jumped off a roof.
Yeah, I was definitely humming along with some of her songs there. An Amendola touchdown and a two-point convert made it 28-20 for the Patriots, and they had all the momentum. A New England sack on Matt Ryan and a late punt left New England with the ball with 3:30 left on the clock.
How did they turn it around?
With 2:28 left in the fourth, Julian Edelman made the catch of a lifetime. With himself and three defenders laid out for the ball, Edelman snatched the ball off the foot of Robert Alford. Four plays later, the Patriots tied the game to force the first overtime in Super Bowl history. James White scored his third touchdown of the game with a 1-yard run to win the game. All in all, it was a game remembered for a long time.
Thanks for that recap, Tyler.
Thanks, Tyler and Justine. This year was the first time Canadians had the pleasure of watching the Super Bowl 51 with the star-studded, high-budget, and highly anticipated American commercials. What did this mean for Canadian fans and Canadian broadcasters? Spoke TV's Stefan Singh has more.
The Super Bowl is a time for friends, food, and beer. And this year in Canada, it was about the hyped-up American Super Bowl ads. This year, for the first time, Canadians were able to watch the popular advertisements. After several complaints over the years of Canadians being upset about not being able to watch the American commercials, the Canadian Radio, Television and Telecommunications Commission, or the CRTC, allowed the NFL to broadcast an unfiltered version of the game so that viewers in Canada watching the Fox channel could see the highly anticipated in-game breaks. Ethan Cowie has been watching the Super Bowl for 8 years now and knows the struggle of having to hear about those big budget and star-studded Super Bowl commercials.
I just think it's like you always hear about the American ads and how it's like a big thing for Americans when they watch it is like the ads, and Canadians we even have to go online after and people will look up like YouTube compilations of best ads, American ads. So I just think it's kind of stupid that we don't get to see those while we're watching.
Austin Corlett is another Canadian who searches for the American Super Bowl commercials on YouTube like every other Canadian had to in the past.
To watch the commercials live on TV, usually as Canadians we watch them the next day on YouTube, and it doesn't have nearly the enhancement that we do for the game, right?
Corlett enjoyed seeing all the movie trailers that he wouldn't usually see if he watched the Canadian version of the Super Bowl.
There was so many great like movie trailer commercials that we never would have seen if we didn't get to watch the American commercials.
Broadcasters were projected to lose over $250 million over the loss of simultaneous substitution for the biggest day in advertising. For Spoke TV, I'm Stefan Singh.
Thanks, Stefan. Hey, Justine, did you watch any of the Super Bowl commercials?
Some. A lot of them were kind of political, though.
Yeah, but those cute dogs, though.
Oh, I love dogs. The Puppy Bowl, oh my goodness.
And that's all we have for today. Be sure to check out spoketv.ca and look for us on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter.
For Spoke TV, I'm Justine Fraser.
And I'm Justin Emmanuel.